Good afternoon, Chandan sir. I hope we are audible. Sir, are we audible to you?
Hello, Aditi ji. Can hear you clearly.
Yes, I was checking with Dr. Chandan Ghosh, sir.
Good afternoon. Dr. Chandan Ghosh, are you able to hear us?
Really, now it is okay? Yeah, yeah, okay.
I think our guests are able to hear us. Dr. Chandan Ghosh is here with us. Mr. Akash, I hope you are connected well.
Hello, yeah, I am.
Okay, great. So I think now we should start our session. So, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Miyamoto International and AIDMI, I, Dr. Aditi Singh, warmly welcome you all to this vital session on community based approaches to climate resilient urban infrastructure. As cities around the world face increasing challenges from climate change, rapid urbanization, and social imbalances, the need for resilient, inclusive, and adaptive infrastructure has never been more urgent. This webinar will explore how communities, when empowered with the right tools, resources, and partnerships, can derive innovative, sustainable solutions that not only strengthen physical infrastructure but also enhance social cohesion and long term resilience. And to address this important issue, we are fortunate to have three leading experts with us today. Our first speaker is Dr. Chandan Ghosh, a name synonymous with innovation and excellence in resilient infrastructure. Currently serving as the Director of Research and Innovation at Fluidian India and Chief Consultant at Nippon Koi India Private Limited, Dr. Ghosh brings over 33 years of profound experience to the table. His pioneering work spans from earthquake geotechnology to seismic microzonation, retrofitting, and bioengineering for sustainable development. With over 150 publications and 350 invited lectures, his contributions have deeply influenced both policy and practice in DRR and infrastructure resilience. We are truly privileged to have his voice guiding today's discussion. Our second speaker is Mr. Ashish People, a senior scientist at CSIR, Central Building Research Institute. Mr. People's dedication to affordable and sustainable construction practice is both inspiring and impactful. His work in bamboo structures, slope stabilization, and geosynthetics reflects a deep commitment to the innovation rooted in traditional wisdom. As one of the principal authors of Landmark, Government of India compendiums such as Pehel, Kavach, and Good Construction Practices, his influence reaches across ministries and rural landscapes, strengthening communities at the grassroots. We are grateful for his presence and the wealth of knowledge he brings. Lastly, it is our pleasure to welcome Mr. Akash Yadav, Lead for Data Science and Technology at AIDMI and Research Affiliate at Harvard University's Lakshmi Mittal and Family South Asia Institute. Mr. Yadav represents the critical intersection of data, technology, and community resilience. His work in developing cutting edge data, products, and decision support tools is shaping how we understand and respond to climate risk, especially in vulnerable communities across South Asia. His ability to bridge the gap between policy and technology makes him an invaluable contributor to today's conversation. To each of our distinct speakers, Dr. Ghosh, Mr. People, and Mr. Yadav, we express our deepest appreciation for sharing your time, insights, and commitment to building more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable urban futures. Now, moving ahead, the session will begin with individual presentations by our esteemed speakers, followed by an interactive question and answer segment, and we will conclude with a vote of thanks. So let us now move ahead with the session. And now I would request Dr. Chandan Ghosh sir to share his presentation. Dr. Chandan Ghosh sir.
Yeah, okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Aditi, thank you for keeping this initiative along with AIDMI and Miyamoto, yes, who have been very active globally. And on the topic that you have chosen, it is timely. Of course, it is not only today it is timely, it is from the day that 2007 onward, when IPCC report came out. Then
Yes.
onward, it is about to be another 18 years. We have been dealing with that. So the topic that chosen by me is more on sustainable development and up close a glimpse of climate condition where economy versus adaptability I'm going to show. So let me share my PPT over here. Okay. I'll go very quickly. There are about 30, but 15 minutes is the time, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please remind me 2 minutes before so that I
Yes.
can make it more concise.
Right. Sir, yes, it's now full screen.
Okay. Is happening. Okay. Okay. So affordable, lightweight, and as well as climate resilient prefabricated construction, which is very fast and techno savvy, but very simple. But at the same time, it is the need of the time today in a city, especially like Delhi, where earthquakes are also there, or even in the hilly area also. To start with, I'll show most of the time photographs only that will give like rooftop. A building is there. Over that, we want to add one more. And that has to be follow certain rules and regulation and guideline available in the municipal corporations or whatever. But at the same time, this is a temporary construction as well as permanent also. And they are very quick. I'll go through that. Like rooftop means above the normal RCC building. When parapet wall is there and you want to add one more, you want to add means being in a temporary category, sometime municipality regulation doesn't work or doesn't question that thing. As long as it is lighter enough or lighter than water, concrete is 2.5 times the weight of the water. Whereas it is this kind of construction give more space and also it is lighter than water, total building and space that it keeps in. So in that case, which means if you add one story of normal concrete building, equivalent to that, you can make 2 to 2.5 story building on that, and assuring that it is safe enough, and also safe, strong, sustainable, and many other benefits which I'm going to share. Like here is an example I'm taking, that rooftop means whatever you are seeing over here. Here also it is at the fourth floor. Fourth floor, these are being done. Here, these are the galvanized iron corrugated say material that available in market. And these are used as a not only shuttering, but also it is used as a a roof. So let me show you that how materials are being, all this cement board and material, how the workers found their own way out to get them to the rooftop, because from the front side, from the back side, from the left side, right side, there is no way to put some pulley system into that. So when there is no way, how they have been bringing this worker, they have been bringing this kind of cement board, which are about 10 kilo to 15 kilo weight, and how in between the staircase, that how they are bringing to the rooftop, where they have added 1 floor extra. And after completion, you can see that after completion, 1 floor is added over here, and over that it is a flat roof. And then, of course, whatever garden and kitchen garden, whatever was there, it is shifted to from the floor where this kind of cement board is there, it is shifted here. Now, let me go to some of the nature-based solutions. That this I did myself. In fact, I was physically there. That in South Delhi, South India. This is a portion which has slided, and you see that the building is about to fall down, or it is getting eroded. So we put vetiver grass over there. You see, using the local community and other things. And date and time is being mentioned, December 2019, just before COVID. And as of May, you see that how this grass which you are seeing, how much they have grown, and given, you can still identify same building, but how it has given a sustainability for the lifetime in this manner, and without spending much money, because whatever grass is donated by somebody, which are not that much costly, and about 8 to 10 labor were working. And so they were given some money, maybe 400, 500 rupees for 2 hours of this. About 1,000 number of whatever plants have been, whatever sapling has been planted over here in 2 hours of time. And you see the result of that. Greenery, as well as giving a best alternative to sustain or to protect this building. Otherwise, it would have fell down, crack, and everything. So what I mean to say that grass is available, special kind of grass, whatever grass is special for this, is being used to protect this building, which may be costing more than 20, 50, say 30 lakh. But only by spending few thousands and community help over here, the erosion control, then landslide has been completely wiped out, which is otherwise not possible by putting normal retaining wall, which we used to practice in our geotechnical engineering. So this is just, I want to keep it just for reference point of view. Now, let me come back to the main topic here. Rooftop means something, this kind of frame has to be made. So all this frame, all this material, they have to bring it through the staircase only. As I said, it is not possible in all the 4 sides. Things cannot be pulleyed on the rooftop. So that is a difficult. So all this material have to be made, and for that, whatever structural welding and everything that have to be done, it is done. So when this is a skeleton, you see the thickness of the thing, and these are all galvanized iron. This is iron, and of course, this iron is also painted so that rusting can be delayed. And after completion, what is inside is there. You see, it is all cement board. These are the cement board, and these are the skeleton, and these are the cement board inside the building after completion, which took hardly 3 to 4 days to complete it. And so while going for rooftop construction, it has to be lightweight, and it has to be in a society where people are living already, and affordability has to be there. It should not be too much costly. And there are certain social taboos there. So we have to go not against the taboo, but we have to convince them scientifically that how better it is. Then how much reliable they are. Everybody will ask, what is the cost per square feet for your, because it depends on what are the site condition. Especially at the rooftop, it is very difficult. So keeping that thing in mind, while a normal construction in Delhi, only construction, it takes minimum 1,500 to 2,000 rupees per square feet. So this one also costing around 2,000 rupees. But space you can get, carpet area you can get 10% more. Say for 1,000 square feet, normally construction, if you do, you will get carpet area, say 800 feet. Here you will get 100 feet extra. If you add that 100 feet cost of that, then you may see that this becomes cheaper. So cost, comfort, and termite is not there. It is very fast construction, no cement, nothing is being used. It is all welding and cement board, which are customized, available in the market in plenty of say manufacturers they are making. And of course, it has to be guided by experts that who are qualified in this here. And moreover, you have to choose the contractor or the expert that who knows that experience of that. And then you can very well manage with because that becomes a big issue. That is why I have highlighted it, neighborhood management. Because it is fast. Say normally a floor like this, if you normally do, it will take minimum 1 year, whereas this can be done in 1 month of time, because most of the material are ready-made, available, prefabricated, and pre-assembled, and then they can be only workmanship is required at the rooftop. So here I want to share something, but time will not allow. But I have interacted with the workers and contractors and everyone together for more than 3 months, taking their work ethics and how many hours they work. You can imagine that a worker working for continuously 3 to 4 days, 24 hours. In between, maybe they are taking maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes of rest. But they work 20 to 22 hours a day. Means they have been habitual in doing such kind of construction. But at the same time, you see, you all know about this, how difficult to imagine such kind of things done thousands of years back in our country by human being, that from the top it has been constructed, everything in one place. It is a wonder. I mean, it is unparalleled. Now let us see, taking this just a few examples that I have taken, things have been done thousands of years back, or what I have explained that which is recently being adopted by many, or affordable, cost friendly, but again, when we go back thousands of years back, when so many materials were not available, we do not know, we do not have any connections with how it was being made. There is a link between that, those skills and manpower and tools that they have used. It is not yet identified. We just only imagine. On the other hand, let us go to some of the things that which we are able to do. Like you see, it is in a city area. We are talking about climate change, and we know that there are more than hundreds of mobile apps there. Taking into weather data, we just collate them and we show that what is the climate today, whether it is going to rain or not. Somewhere it is going false because we have not modeled them. But we have got the tools here, the company that where I work, that even how many buildings are there, how many vehicles are there on a particular section of the road, we can categorically identify the AQI, air quality index, or all those parameters along with the sensors that placed in that. So we can categorically identify that which is the most polluted area. And these are all novel exercise, and solvers are available, taking thermodynamics as well as buildings and roads, vehicles, and people movement, like these many multi-towers are there, contribution of all of these are accumulated to the software, computational fluid dynamics, I would say 3D, then it gives us such kind of categorical information about the pollution load in a society area or whatever you want. And also like this urban air quality, like this is a stadium. Around that stadium, if you want to organize a cricket match where 1 lakh people will be coming, we can give this kind of information in advance. That how many vehicles will be allowed, how many people will be allowed. Of course, we see that depends on the ticket sales, and the time of the event can be decided. And we can give advance information about this thing 2, 3, 4 days. What are the changes they're going to make? Of course, our IMD also gives this advance weather forecasting for next 10 days or long-term forecasting. But this one is taking into account of day-to-day things, and with computer simulation, we do it more effectively and categorically, and you can verify, you can check, you can put temperature sensor, humidity, or airflow in 3D. All those things can be taken into account, and we can predict. Or whenever an area is getting, say, when an area is like how fire takes place, how it is going to spread, taken into account of what are the habitations around there. Those are also being predicted, simulated using the multiphysics domain. Then suppose these are the discretization that we do in our civil engineering. Suppose there is some pollution over here, and whenever there are some flyover or underpass is being made, so before the project, after the project, what are the changes? So we can categorically see that what is the impact on the climate, and by making some constructions, that what is the impact that it has reduced, as you can see there after the project with this color code that which you are seeing. And one very interesting example is that statue of you see, it is L&T has made statue of oneness, and there are some interesting thing that statue is like this. So we did CFD analysis on the entire statue, and here you see at 6 a.m. what is the temperature? 30 degree maximum. At 9 a.m. that temperature becomes 41.33. At 12 noon, it becomes 54.86. At 3 p.m., it has reduced. At 6 p.m., it has reduced. Where this one indicates the head here. And this is giving that distribution of temperature throughout the statue from the top to bottom. So these are the kind of analysis which are not taken easily in the structural analysis of such kind of statue by the structural engineer. But when sun heat and temperature taken into account, see the variation of the temperature, which can easily being measured, identified, projected, predicted, and the change that it will happen when temperature becomes 30 degree to 54 or 55 degree, what will be the impact on the statue, on the material that which is being used, whether it is designed for that matter or not. If it is not, then what are the mitigation measures to be used? Say some liquid may be circulated, some cool liquid may be circulated at the top of this, so that we can keep a balance, so that temperature extreme is not there. So I mean to say that in the climate change and disaster mitigation area, we have been using many empirical, estimates, statistics of 30 years, 40 years, projecting it for next 70 years, how it is going to happen. But when we are doing all these things, it is all based on statistical information. But whereas this is a relatively, we are taking into account of multi-physics of each and every mechanics of this, how temperature is going to interact with that, then we are able to give to this level of discretizations about the temperature variation. And then what will happen, what will impact on the statue itself, on the life of the statue for which it is designed. This can be categorically explained. So, and this is that from the company side, it is given there. I'm going little. So let me go back to, because climate part, I wanted to say that we are using statistical information, projecting it for 2070. We are now taking into account of 2000, say net zero by 2070 in India, or in next 100 years, how it is going to change. In the recent events and happening that taking place, it is not going to be dependent on that what last 5 years information is there. We have to use categorically some kind of analysis like this, which takes care of each and every part from kilometers size to even millimeter size discretization, so that we can measure, we can project, we can predict, and we can make some mitigation measures. So this is the rooftop construction. Again, I have come back how they have been constructing this in various phases. I'm going little faster, that how they have made alternative arrangement. And this is the shuttering that they have made for the roof, where they are using a little bit of cement and concrete to make it the floor, flat floor. And there are, you know, how it was started. Parapet wall has been removed from here. And you see tie beam has been put up. See all parapet, and these are the tie beam put up over there. And then there are some live video are there, but because of the shortage of time, I am not showing it. But these are the kind of connections that they are making, welding especially. And then this is how they are putting up the entire structure. And this is, you see, this is the flat roof that they are providing, over which those tin sheds they are using. And these are the work going on. They do it very fast. And then they have done the concreting over this. This is the room space that they have created. And all the material they have carried manually through the staircase. And all this work that they have done. These are the prefabricated or assembled over here, factory made things, galvanized iron, which they have used as a wall. And these are all, there are many videos are there. These are the glass wool that they have used. This glass wool they have used in the entire wall so that they can reduce sound effect by 40 decibel. So it is temperature proof, it is sound proof, dust proof, and it is noise proof, rather you can say. So these are the things, glass wool that they have used. They are used in the walls, and then they are pasted over there, and then with cement board they have made everything. So in 3 months of time they have done. And of course, these are all, I'm going to send it after this, that you can see. And what is the current impact likelihood matrix of new technologies? Can see 3D laser scanning, drones, and 3D printers, how they are in the market. So there are some comparison that people have made. So I'm just showing it as it is. Impact of likelihood matrix of global trends. There are many such technologies that people are trying to match with that, predicting, and what is the current stage. And so lightweight construction usually results in higher weight reduction than a mere substitution of material could achieve in practice. But a simple material exchange is not satisfying solution, because another material usually requires different design. So these are all, it is already perfected, and several such constructions are being made in the city area or even in the hilly area. So to end, summary of differences of steel and composite construction. Many such charts are available in civil engineering construction, almanac or material that available. But just before I end, I want to show that here are the 20 category, 18 category of infrastructure in America. In 2021, they have made a survey. American Society of Civil Engineers, highly professionalized, organization. They have done the survey in each type of this structure. Here you see around 18 such infrastructure. What is the grading that they have done? See, 19 such. So what is the C- grade that professional civil engineer who are responsible for infrastructure construction, they have given grading, average grading for American infrastructure. You see that grading is moderate or even less than that, C-. In our country, we have not yet done such kind of infrastructure health mapping systematically. Although in America, they have started in 1988. Every 3 to 4 years, they do such kind of survey so that the government can allocate certain budget for reconstruction or even retrofitting or even removing or adopting new technology and many things. Yesterday, in fact, I have visited a place in Moradabad just before giving thank you. Here you can get the things. This is the talab, you can say, that which is being cleaned initially for 1.5 years from May 2022 to November 2023. 1.5 years they have cleaned. And now continuously that cleaning is going on. And this is the condition of and it is so clean and greenery and everything, and with a very, very low cost in situ. And before the photo is just now, I'm not able to show. Before this, here it is the water now, clean water. And following all those measures of BOD, COD, DO has become now more than 5. Earlier, all were 0, and there is no water at all. And it is all having with lots of muck and water hyacinth. Now it is clean water. It has become a very, very cool breeze. And in fact, when I was there around 5:30, it was around 5 o'clock. Just it was so much soothing because of the greenery. And this greenery is also different because they are using this water only. So with one such project, they have done several projects. I used to visit them, see, appreciate them. But with one such project and what impact that it has created, I think scientific body has to take care of social impact assessment. And let me appeal to all of you, please come forward. That impact assessment of such kind of natural rejuvenation using not chemical but naturally available medicinal plants extract that available in our country, that we can do such kind of change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing this wealth of knowledge with all of us and so many real life examples. They were really enlightening. So, and indeed, we can say that prefabricated construction, when approached thoughtfully, can offer affordable, lightweight, and climate resilient solutions, especially critical in the face of growing environmental challenges and urban housing pressure.
Yeah.
So, with this first presentation, I would like now to invite Mr. Ashish People to share his insight through his presentation. Mr. Ashish People.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Aditi. I'll be just sharing my slides. So, hope the slides are visible.
Yes.
Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. Now, the topic that I'll be talking right now is going to be about the climate and disaster resilient community developed construction style of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Now, the point here I would like to raise is that, the climate resiliency, along with the disaster resiliency, has always been the part of the traditional construction styles. No matter whether, though we'll be talking just about the hilly terrain of Himachal and Uttarakhand, but it has been the core of the design of the traditional construction all across the country. The earlier practice of construction used to cover the specific problem of the local problem that everyone has. Let's say if you go into the coastal areas, people will try to the solution that the housing solutions that they were covering were basically taking care of the issues that they used to have, like the flooding, or they have a very good ventilation to take care of the humidity aspect. And similarly, when you'll reach to the mountainous region of let's say Uttarakhand or Himachal or Leh, they were trying to cover up as much as possible to the earthquake part or the high wind part. Those kind of things they were trying to tackle down. And all these things slowly, we have with the modernization of construction, we have actually forgot how to make the use of the locally available materials and all those kind of things. So very, very briefly, I'll try to cover up these points. And so let's just to give you a glimpse about, first of all, what basically are the problems. Like say, India is actually has been divided into various geoclimatic zones. along with the geohazard reason kind of thing. You can find all the hazards, all the type of geoclimatic issues that we can have in the country, in any part of the world. Like, let's say we have storm affected area, we have flood affected area, we have droughts, we have deserts, hot and cold, both the things. We have landslides, we have rock falls, we have avalanches, we have cyclones. And along with that, obviously, there are like temperature variation. In the Leh region, the temperature is going well below, let's say, -30 or so. And then in the region of Kutch and all, where the temperature is going in the many part of Rajasthan, it's going well beyond 50, 52 as well. Nowadays, it is touching approximately 52. So we are having a very variation of the geoclimatic conditions as well as the geohazards. So based on all those aspects, it was a necessity to survive under these extreme condition of the people that in the earlier days. And there was very limited sources of transportation and all those kind of things, so they had to rely on the local materials that were available there itself in the vicinity. And so they, with the help of those materials, they did the hit and trial. And with the years of experience, years of modification, few of the traditional construction styles came into picture, and which we can see in the form of, let's say, Kathkuni or Dhaji Diwari or Koti Banal, Changhar, particularly in the community is the missing community in Assam that actually construct Changhar. So there are different kinds of traditional construction styles that came into picture just with the community interventions. It was not someone from the rich background, or someone was coming from, let's say, some abroad area, and he was designing all these houses, all these technologies. It was the local people who, with their years of experience of their, how the things behave, how the material behave, what are the problems and the challenges they are facing in that area, they actually slowly develop these kind of techniques and the systems. And based on that, today, whatsoever traditional construction that we see in many of the areas of, particularly right now, from the current scenario, it's just the Himachal or Uttarakhand. Those are the things which have, which have come into picture by years of, or thousands of years of experience. So just to give you a glimpse about what Himachal Pradesh is actually facing. So Himachal has a tremendous, like you can always see that there are landslide prone areas in Himachal. Many of the areas of Himachal are landslide prone. Every year, whenever the rain takes place, number of landslide occurs. Because of that, number of houses gets destroyed, or it affects the infrastructure, and all those kind of things happen. And along with that, the earthquake hazard map, if you look into it, anyhow falls into the current, from the current BIS code point of view, it falls in the zone 4 and 5. And again, it also has the high wind map. It has got very high winds blowing from from 39 meter per second to 50 meter per second, and so on. So and along with that, similar type of issues, Uttarakhand also is having, like, the wind. It has got wind hazards. It has got the landslide issues. It also has got the earthquake issues with it. So the situation or the condition of Himachal Pradesh or Uttarakhand or the nearby areas of these kind of places, of the nearby states of Himachal or Uttarakhand, also has the similar issues. And so the solution that came out were also a bit similar in nature. Say, again, just to give you an idea that what kind of disasters that these states face. So just in Himachal, in just 2023, these are the data of the 12 districts that were there. And so many number of houses, like, let's say, 964 cattle shed got destroyed in Bilaspur, and 1577 in Mandi. So there are thousands of houses got destroyed in just 1 year of flooding. Just one flood, and all these houses got washed away. And just to notice, when the PDNA did the survey, the majority of the house those got destroyed were actually the conventional construction, the modern or the contemporary construction that we are having nowadays. So a majority of the traditional construction was still safe. So that brings us into, we have to look into the aspect that why such kind of things are happening. why the thermal comfort or the disaster resiliency of the traditional constructions are still better, and that still need attention of people, and we need to intervene into that. So the construction techniques that we are going to discuss here, the Himachal and Uttarakhand has many kind of the construction techniques available traditionally with them. Let's say just to give just that Katkuni is there, which is again a construction of wood and stone. Then there are mud houses with slate roof. Khathara style is there. Dhaji Diwari is there. Then there are mud houses with flat thatch roof, and then the slopey thatch roof is also there. Mud houses, normal mud construction. Then there are dedicated stone construction, brick and random rubble in mud mortar, dry stone. Sun-dried bricks are there. Mud houses in high Himalayan region, random rubble construction, and all those kind of things are there. But all these are specific. They were not constructed like, let's say nowadays what we are doing is, let's say just one solution is getting fitted everywhere. That was not the case earlier. People used to construct at a particular style at a particular location only, because they were aware about the situation, how the climate is going to be there, how the hazard situation is going to be at that location, and accordingly the construction used to take place. So right now we'll be just talking about the Katkuni or the Dhaji Diwari, because the other construction doesn't involve multi-layer of construction. So we'll be just talking about Katkuni and Dhaji Diwari, as the time restriction is also there. So Katkuni actually has a recorded history of more than 1,000 years, though it's saying ATT plus minus 90 years. This is something which has come upon by the carbon dating. So we have a structure which is as old as 1,000 years, and the material that it is using is basically wood and stone, which is and very specifically they used to utilize wood, which was actually deodar, and the stone which was sandstone. Though Uttarakhand and Himachal has a variety of stones available with them, but these were the typical wood and stone that they were using in this construction. The wood was specifically deodar, though cheed is also available, but wood, there was specific reason for using the deodar as well. We'll be discussing that in the upcoming slides also. And if you look into the floor plans, you'll observe that there are ventilations, but if you look into the elevation, the ventilation size or the door sizes are very small, because they were aware that we need to trap the heat inside. We just cannot allow the cold weather of the outside to get inside and bring the room temperature down. So they used to keep a minimal ventilation. At the top floor, they used to have multiple ventilations, but that was just because they used to open it during the daytime to soak the sun, and then during the as the evening approaches, they used to shut them down. So that's how they were actually aware that how they need to construct their houses. And all these houses, if you look into, they are very regular in elevation. There was symmetry in plan. They were not very lengthy in construction. The Katkuni style actually have two type of construction. There was one which is having typical three floors, like G+2, among which the first floor, the ground floor, used to be for the cattles. The first floor used to be for storing the grains, and the second floor used to be for the residential purpose. But in this also, the people, there are two variations. The G+1 was also there, which is actually prevalent in the upper region of Himachal Pradesh, like the Kinnaur region specifically, because there they used to build the kothar or the granary outside the houses. And whereas in the part of, let's say, the Shimla, Kullu, and Mandi region, they have a G+2 combination. However, there are even G+6 stories are also available, made up of Katkuni. And the best part was they were aware about the situation, so they used to keep the keep the the story height low, and tries to keep the center of gravity as low as possible, so that the building behaves quite better in the events of earthquakes or the seismic forces. So all those kinds of things, they were also taken care of very precisely while while constructing any of the cartoony houses. This is a picture of the cartoony house when it was constructing. So it's clearly visible. You can see there's a connection in between the two wooden planks, which is a dovetail connection, which is called as Manvi. And at the end, they used to connect the two planks together, which was the connection of the wooden nail that used to be called as cuddle. So this is how the wood also you used to connect together, and along with that, the stone remains packed in between the wood and the two wood layers. So they were having sufficient ductility as well as sufficient flexibility as well as a sufficient rigidity as well in their houses, and that the overall thermal mass was also being provided, as the minimum wall thickness they used to keep was of 450 mm. Whereas in the this was for the residential purpose, whereas if we were talking about the temples and all those kind of structures which was important to the community, the wall thickness was they used to keep it as high as 800 to 900 mm as well. So they were actually aware of how much heat they need to need to be trapped inside, and how much thermal mass also need to be taken care of along with the stability of the structure. Now, there's another type of construction which is very prevalent, which was Dhaji Diwari. So this again is a typical timber frame construction of the Western Himalayan region, in which the speciality is that in this the superstructure also used to remain anchored with the foundation. So they used to lay a beam once the foundation is laid, and that beam used to connected with the anchor with the form of an anchor with the foundation beneath, and this anchor used to connect with the columns at the top of it. So the superstructure was connected, and it was a braced construction. So it was taking care of all the forces, all the seismic forces which was encountering that. And along with that, they were filling the gaps with the stones or the mud bricks, or the mud that was available there with the local people, and then it was giving a proper shape, and the thermal mass was also being taken care of. So this is how the earlier the traditional construction was taking care, where every single point of the be it temperature, be it wind, be it your seismic forces, or be it at many of the places they used to raise the platform as well to construct the house, wherever they were aware of that some flooding can happen. So every single aspect was being taken care at the in the traditional construction styles of Himachal and Uttarakhand. And this is a typical typical diagram of how the construction takes place in the Dhaji Diwari type of construction. So the houses are typically 1 to 4 story tall, and the roof is made up of timber, flat timber, or if they want to go ahead at the top floor, it is basically the metal sheet, or sometimes the slate roof is all slate roof also were used in the roofs. And the floors were typically of the laid on the timber beam. So this was basically a timber construction in which again the Deodar was basically being used because of many different aspects that the specialities that Deodar had, and accordingly the construction used to take place. So as we discussed, the material that they were using was simply the stones, soil, or wood. These are actually the materials which were very easily available at all these locations, and with these simple materials they were constructing these building marvels. And along with that, if you look into stones, again, very high compressive strength, easily available in hills, and the very interesting part is that they in the Katkuni style, where they use typically undressed or sometimes semi-dressed stone as well. So to dress these stones, they used to boil the stone first of all in huge containers, and then after boiling them, they used to chisel them. Now, the idea behind that was that, after sufficient boiling, it becomes easy to chisel them, and the stone doesn't get cracked. And that's how, this was a very basic practice of the Katkuni construction. And again, the best part is that whenever you are using the stones right from the, very specific place where you are going to construct your house, you're not adding any foreign material or any additional dead load on the hills or the slopes. You are just utilizing whatsoever is already existing in that particular locality. You're just shifting it by few meters. That's it. So not much of the dead load was getting added to the slope. So the slope were also actually feeling happy that, I'm not getting further loaded. And that's why earlier the issues of landslide and so all those kind of stuff, so also less, because there were proper channelization of water. There was no additional dead load was existing, and they were not doing harm to the environment. So that's how, all these part of the coexistence with the nature, which was that was actually existing with the traditional construction practice. And again, if you look into the wood, as I was talking about, they were very specifically utilizing deodar. And the reason to utilize deodar was that it is actually, there are evidences and the studies which suggest that deodar is highly water resistant. In ancient times, the ships were used to be built of deodar, because deodar is a wood which, if you throw into water, it will still sustain for thousands of years. And if you keep it in the dry condition, it again will be like 2,000 3,000 years it will sustain. So that's why the wood, it has a very, very good resistance to the weathering effect, to the environmental effect. And that's why they used to construct the houses with wood. Along with that, it has a very good rot resistant. It is lightweight, but at the same time it has a very good tensile strength. And the natural oil that deodar has is actually insect repellent. So, whenever you're constructing in hills where you are surrounded by the woods, the insect repellent characteristic plays a very important role for the community. So that's a with all these kind of properties of the deodar, they actually were utilizing deodar very specifically for all these kind of construction. And if you look into soil, again, it is a very high thermal comfort, and it is easy to handle. Locally, it's very easily available. Carbon footprint is always almost negligible. It's all these materials are actually sustainable. Waste is not at all getting generated, completely biodegradable. And it has got, again, if you're not putting some water in it, it is actually very good in compressive strength. So, all these materials, they are actually ideal materials for the construction purpose if utilized properly. And those people, the traditional in the traditional style, they were utilizing it just perfectly. So,
Mr. Ashish,
yeah.
can you summarize?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
There are just two slides
Okay.
actually I'm left with. So I'm just summarizing it only. So basically, if you're looking from the community perspective, the people were actually not taking any external help. They were constructing by their own. So it was basically, actually, it was like that, right now in current, if you are looking into the contemporary, from the contemporary construction, we are actually, the community is actually purchasing material from one small agency or one particular firm, and then many people are actually adding the economical expenses onto that. Whereas if you try to look into the other aspect, and the traditional material or traditional styles are being used, they will be just upsiding down the pyramid, and the people will be getting more benefited, because again, the material will be local, the labor will be local, and everything will be like local economy, and the ecosystem will be generated. So earlier, again, people were having no external help. Time and resource efficiency was there, and the maintenance was very minimal. Thousands of years, and without any major maintenance, the structure is standing, and the structural resilience is very good. And these all are time-tested techniques evolved by society with time. And if you'll just to conclude, these structures have the capability which they have showcased in the various seismic events which have taken place in the past. And these constructions are disaster resilient, and at the same time energy efficient and sustainable. And if we are utilizing these structures and the materials in a nice way, they actually can create something which is called structures for life. So that was it. Thank you, and Jai Hind from my end.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashish, for such an enlightening and engaging presentation. This session has reminded us that climate resilience does not always need to come from high-end technology. Sometimes it comes from looking back, learning from communities who have coexisted with nature for centuries, and thoughtfully integrating these practices into our future planning. So yes, with this, we will quickly move to our last presentation, which is by Mr. Akash. Mr. Akash, I would request you to share your wisdom and insight through your presentation.
Sounds good. Thank you, Aditi, and thank you, Ashishji and Chandanji. Very insightful presentations. I want to shift gears a little. Let me see if I can share. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yeah, can you put it in the presentation mode full screen?
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Great.
I wanted to shift gears a little, talking about digital infrastructure. The speakers before me, very insightful, insights again on terms of like how physical infrastructure needs to be prepped for. And in similar capacity, I think an argument can be made for some of the data sets that exist within the public domain in India and globally. Today's presentation is an important one, especially because the pace at which we are experiencing some of these climate-related phenomena and extreme weather events. The similar pace in which we are innovating and trying to find solutions for climate adaptation and mitigation, these are not at par. So the problems are far outpacing the solutions, and data then becomes an important component. But ironically, so we keep hearing about deep tech, AI, and big data for almost like the past decade or so, and it has we haven't seen any glorified solutions apart from one or two that have actually been able to create these sustainable solutions and build capacity in trying to address these issues. Some of these things, as I will argue in this particular presentation, are related to data infrastructure. So there are a lot of gaps when it comes to thinking about the data infrastructure that currently exists, much like the urban infrastructure, and how do we think about building it um, with consultations locally and making sure it's basically like end to end protected in terms of providing the utility for the end users. Before we dive into the specifics, I quickly wanted to draw your attention to some of the common problems that are plaguing cities in current day and age. So one of the problems that we keep hearing about is the problem of heat waves. You must have read on news channels and newspapers that the heat, the summer season, is getting hotter every year. Every day you would record a maximum daily temperature. So clearly the trend is an increasing one, and a lot of climate scientists have projected that in the next 70 years or so, the annual and average temperature will rise about 3 to 5 degrees Celsius. And depending on whether you're in an inland city or a coastal city, whether you're young or old, or work from your office or from the field, you will feel the impacts of this particular heat season very differently. And some of the other common problems that have been cited by the literature are of water security, scarcity and shortages. Again, a very common problem, at least in India for this summer season, where we are seeing acute shortages of water in central and western India, especially. Reservoirs are just running dry. Hand pumps are running dry. Solutions need to come from say water tankers, or people are traveling long distances to actually fetch water. And in similar capacity, right, erratic rainfalls, prolonged droughts, these can lead to various issues like food insecurity and a whole range of other issues as well that plague our cities at large. And what happens when say the UN estimates of 70% people will start living in urban locations comes true, it will create a stress and on our infrastructure, on energy, on transportation. So clearly something that we need to think about as these problems are increasing in almost near real-time capacity. Over here in this slide, I want to draw your attention. So you might ask whether everything related to climate change can be an classified as an urban phenomenon. Not really, but urban cities are at a higher risk than other counter parts. And the reason, as demonstrated in this particular research by researchers at IIT Bhubaneswar, if I'm not wrong, that there is a direct correlation between the degree of urbanization and the land surface temperature. So they found out 60% of the cities that they analyzed within India have this trend. And the red dots that you see on your screen are basically cities that have exhibited this trend. The redder the dot, the more statistically significant the result is. And this is not just a problem with Indian cities, this is a problem with the world at large. In a similar study of about 2000 plus cities, it was found that urban areas are heating 30% faster than their rural counterparts. And the problem is much more accelerated in the South Asian context. So if you see in the bottom over here, you'll see cities again in India, in China, at the verge of being these red dots and redder by the moment. So it is clear, right? The current challenges that we face around climate change, they are accelerated from a city perspective, from an urban context. And South Asia is clearly ground zero for some of these problems. And the world is looking upon us, right, in terms of trying to find the solutions in terms of climate mitigation and adaptation. And some of these problems are happening in near real time. So the solutions need to happen in near real time. The way to facilitate this, as I will show, is through data-driven solutions. Data-driven solutions can have a significant impact in reducing the turnaround time when it comes to these analytical questions that we ask in terms of what is possible around in terms of adaptation and mitigation, and how do we productionalize it, or how do we make sure this is within the decision-making capacity of the end user. And the examples that we have worked through in our experience, there'll be many cases where we experience that a cyclone these days can be predicted with 90% accuracy on where it is going to make a landfall. We know what kinds of population estimates are going to be impacted. In some cases, it is also possible to know the medical vulnerabilities within these areas. So all of those combined, we can target very dedicated sort of resources, aid, when it comes to response and rehabilitation within the communities that are impacted. And to demonstrate one such example, at AIDMI, we did an exercise for Chennai, which is a coastal city in India, just to see what revenue zones in India are, in Chennai, are more vulnerable than the others. And we had data available from the Tamil Nadu government in terms of the urban topography, in terms of past flooding events, crowdsourced past flooding events, in terms of socioeconomic vulnerabilities. And what we found, these dark green revenue zones that you see in north and south of Chennai happen to be more vulnerable, about 6 of them, than all of the other revenue zones in Chennai. And when the time came to put it into action, when Cyclone Migjam actually made landfall in December 2023, what we saw that the recovery rate of these 6 revenue zones, if I can draw your attention to the right side of the screen, the red line is the average recovery rate of all revenue zones. But for these 6 specifically, we see that the rate of recovery is much lower than the average recovery rate. So this is a great insight in terms of preparing for what kinds of anticipatory measures can be taken. Having this information beforehand can help you appropriate the kind of resources that are necessary, and for these revenue zones to absorb future potential shocks. But this effort is not an easy one, especially because of the state of the data sets that currently exist in the public domain. Some of the challenges of data sets that are publicly available include that they are incomplete, they're not frequently updated, they're inaccurate, they have undercounting in them. Sometimes they also have double counting. So if I can draw your attention now to this particular right side headline, India likely undercounting heat deaths affecting its response to harsher heat waves. So this clearly has major ramifications, implications in terms of what kinds of interventions are necessary. If we are grossly underestimating the deaths, we can't plan the capacity that is needed within hospitals for the heat action plans to properly address what kinds of groups are vulnerable and make interventions personalized to their experience. So that's something that we are lacking, and this can misclassify or misappropriate very important risks. So imagine you have a dashboard where there are several districts where you're highlighting the vulnerability, but you miss out one district where you're saying there's no vulnerability as such. But given the evolving nature of these vulnerabilities and the phenomena of extreme events just intensifying, even this district for some reason might be vulnerable in this current year, and you're completely missing out on that insight, and you're not releasing the right kinds of funds or resources that are needed for that particular district, and that can have very severe consequences. So we need to avoid that. The data that goes into the models that are made needs to be accurate, or needs to have some kind of guardrails that we can accommodate and then use in our models. At AIDMI, we also did a stakeholder consultation of about 100 individuals around disaster risk reduction, climate adaptation, and humanitarian action, just to document what are the common problems facing the repositories that have climate and disaster related data. The first and foremost has been the existence of data. This is a very common problem, that the data just doesn't exist, right? And I'm talking about very specific community specific data, where it is of a high spatial resolution, temporal resolution. It's updated frequently. So you just don't have those data sets to identify what are the risks and vulnerabilities. In some cases, these data sets might be available. So a municipal corporation might be collecting hyper-local community data, but the access to that data is very difficult because it exists in silos, right? It might exist in government websites that you have to search through. Discoverability becomes very difficult, and even if you were able to find this data set, in some cases there are usage restrictions or paywalls or just technical capacities that are limiting your use of this particular data. Some of the common challenges that we also noted were operational challenges, lack of standardization. So people are releasing data in terms of PDF formats. Now it's not usable for downstream applications if it is not tabular data, right? You need to pre-process this data, clean it, and then be able to use it in near real time. There are limitations around the documentation that is maintained for this data. Metadata is not properly documented. So you don't know what are the best uses of this data. You don't know what are the biases, what are the uncertainties, limitations of using this particular data. All of that information is missing. Irregular updating. So there might be organizations that have noble intentions of releasing the data set, but in many cases what you will find that the capacity just limits their ability to do this periodically. So let's say an organization decides to release a data set every year, but just because they're strapped in terms of their resources, a data set that was supposed to be released in April for studying heat phenomena is now released in November. And now the data set has become stale. It cannot be used for its for in its full glory. And to draw a very famous example, the census, right? The last census was done in 2011, and we are still due to have another census. That data to be to be utilized for current population dynamics or studying current socioeconomic vulnerabilities is not the best. So you have to combine census data with other kinds of data sets to paint a more realistic picture of what is happening on the ground. I'll just skip through privacy issues and data processing. So these are basically again capacity issues. People are not aware of what kinds of misuses exist if they were to publish certain data sets, and that is why you don't have proper good data sets to be able to use for downstream applications. So two very clear needs emerge from this. First, we need more data democratized, especially at the hyper local community level. And second, we need extensive data annotation and standardization techniques. Just to talk a little bit about what that standardization needs to look like, over here we have identified 36 metadata characteristics around 6 categories: source, structure, accessibility, temporal scale, spatial scale, and contextual documentation. So over here, source is very typical, whether it's a domestic or international data, government or private data, etc. Structure, what file format is the data available in, PDF, CSV, etc. Whether or not it's digitized. Metadata availability. So, in certain data sets, there are hundreds of columns, and you don't find any technical documentation in how to use those data sets. You have to rely on the column naming. And in many cases, the column will be named A001, B002. So it just renders this particular, data set useless for the applications that you want to build. So metadata availability is an important, aspect of this annotation framework. Accessibility, again, whether it's open access, restricted access. If it is restricted access, how do you get access to this data set? Whether it's stale data. Spatial scale is basically level of aggregation, which is whether the data is at national, subnational, district, or community level. In some cases, weather station, satellite, etc. Geospatial congruence is whether data is available for all cities or some cities, that distinction. And the most important, in my opinion, is the contextual documentation, which basically lists out how the data was generated, what instruments went into making this data, what are its uses, are there any limitations and biases when it comes to using them. I'll just skip through this. Again, in order to build a very resilient climate data repository, it is very important for us to have these stakeholder consultations, tag the data, and then standardize it in a way that is easily accessible to the end user. This is an example of what a repository of such nature will look like. I can share the link in the chat. This one is called india.climateverse.net. And the 36 attributes that we spoke about, they tag all of the data sets on those attributes and tell you where exactly to find that data, who to contact, and they even have this technical infrastructure to give you tiered access. What that means is so government is not very keen on releasing certain kinds of data sets, so they can only add emails that they want to share with. Where researchers can still see that some data of this nature exists, but they can't access it unless until they directly contact the government. So all of these technical sort of levers are in place to make data more accessible and discoverable. This again is a data tagging exercise that was done by Climateverse. Whether particular data is open access, whether it's free, it's updated weekly. This data, which is the weekly outbreaks, is available till 2025, but it's available in a PDF format, right? So I'll have to maybe create some script to convert PDF into a tabular data and then start analyzing. And this is an important way again to make sure some of the data infrastructure components are easily viewable. So that when you have to search through 50 data sets of the same nature, right? If you have 50 temperature data sets and you have to understand which data sets fits best for your purpose, a scorecard or an infographic of this nature can help you quickly take that decision. So in this case, this is the IMD temperature data. I know it is sensor derived, which is better than satellite. It is daily updated, but it is restricted access. So I can see who is providing this data and I can directly reach out to them to make this data available in some capacity for my research. And then file format is binary, which I may not have the ability to use. So let me then look for other kinds of data sets, for example, GeoTIFF or shapefile, if I can use those instead of using a binary format. So this scorecard or infographic becomes very useful in terms of taking those important decisions for building certain applications. Right, I'm reaching the end. So, the urge to this community to show you certain different aspects of the data infrastructure is that now we are leading to that point where the infrastructure is able to support all kinds of data sets, national, subnational, and even community data sets. But the need is actually for community specific data sets for reasons I highlighted. If you have to know the specific vulnerabilities of a particular community, you can't use district level data set and approximate it to a slum, for example. Because district might say 30% elderly population, but the slum might have 80%. So those distinctions are very important, and that is why it is necessary for the community at large, that is all of us, to contribute important data sets that can be used for larger good, albeit with some conditionality that we'll have to protect them, anonymize them, so that it is not used in a negative way. So all those the science around that exists today, and we can start contributing some important data sets. And this is an example of an NGO called Sheltered Associates, who has provided slum level data. So they collect data of each citizen within a particular slum, And they also capture like, important details about the infrastructure within that slum. And they're not releasing like like personal data. They are only releasing like, the characteristics of that particular slum, which is still important, like, for me to say plan if some kind of service delivery needs to happen, whether like, ambulances can reach the narrow lanes of this particular slum. So all of that, like, is possible when you have data in this capacity. This is another example of like a data set that was contributed by an NGO in health of 1 lakh people with 7 lakh laboratory readings. Again, it's a very sensitive data, so they had like, anonymized it in ways that is difficult to be misused. And now they have hosted it on the India AI Kosh data repository, which is the AI, like the government-owned AI data repository. Right. So, like, this brings me to an end. Clearly, a need exists, and we need to be able to, like, service to that need. Data infrastructure is improving, so all of us should, like, contribute important data sets for climate adaptation and intervention research to, like, finally materialize. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akash, for shaping our understanding on climate resilience through data infrastructure. So with this, one thing is clear: closing the climate data gap is not just a technical issue, it is a societal imperative. Following this impactful presentation by our esteemed speakers, we are now open for discussion and question by our audience. So the first question we have is for Dr. Chandan Ghosh. What are the challenges in sourcing local materials for lightweight prefabricated construction? Sir.
Yeah. What are the?
Sir, the question is, what are the challenges in sourcing the local materials for lightweight, construction, prefabricated construction?
Local materials, most of the time, because of the government ban of using natural material like wood, in government offices here, like for the last 20 years, I think there is a ban on cutting trees and making all furnitures and everything. But traditionally, for more than 500 years, in the presentation by CBRI Ashish ji, you see so many buildings were made using the natural material, local material, especially the wood has been used. But now there is a restriction of using local wood, cutting the trees and everything. So, and moreover, they are costly also. So that is why now these days, road infrastructure is quite extensively developed. And this material, which I have shown, cement board or even double AC block, double AC block in lightweight material, lighter than water material. These are available across the country, just like plastic, bottled water or Lay's chips are available across the country in all places. Similarly, this material also, even small shops, the material that I have shown, there are category that we have used. There are hardly 10 different types of material. One mainly is cement board, then galvanized iron, which are manufactured in some manufacturing facility, pan country. They can be transported with some transportation cost, which is minimal now in these days. So in that case, wherever construction sources are there at various parts of the country and open marketplaces are there, things can be sourced from any part of the country with whatever transportation or port or cost is there. Locally, to source them, there is restriction and labor charge, labor intensive. So when ready-made material is available, and when things can be joined there, prefabricated there at one place, even these days we are making pod house fabricated in some place here in Delhi and taking it by one truckload to the Himalaya, wherever you want, Mussoorie or all those places, 300 kilometers, say. And within 2 hours, we can assemble them and put it there, and which are disaster resilient. And cost-wise also, it is quite affordable. And disaster resilient wise also, they are quite successful. So in that case, local sources of these are the special material which is being manufactured mostly, like glass wool. Glass wool cannot be sourced from, which is used for the house, like the reduce the noise or sound effect. So sound effect, of course, in that case, if you want to go to old, a very successful application of mud and also cow dung and other things. See, these days we have lost almost the art of those things. And moreover, very hardly any such specifications we have made it available to our BIS standard. So there is no standard design material available. One can make 1-story or 2-story building, whereas such kind of customized material which are manufactured, we can make 2-story, 3-story, 5-story, 10-story, 50-story, 100-story building also. So this is where that we can open up wherever it is required. We can customize it. We can easily join them, and that become much more stronger and resilient also, and lighter as well.
Right, sir. And we have another question with us, which is, with the increase in cyclones hitting both the east and the west coast of India, is there any study or building model available on climate resilient buildings to address this issue? Mr. People, would you like to?
Yeah, Dr. Aditi. Actually, people are currently working on traditional construction practices, and they're trying to study. The researchers are trying to study in the different terrains. As far as the cyclone is concerned, yes, people have worked, researched over the particularly after the Fani cyclone. There were various people have researched on particularly how the roof need to be designed as far as the cyclones are concerned, because that plays a very important role along with the ventilation. Earlier also in CBRI, we have designed a very specific kind of roof, which is the pyramidal roof, particularly for those kind of regions. And more than 2 lakh of houses just after Fani, we along with the Odisha government has constructed there. So yes, there are researches available, and but definitely it's not always enough. So the research is continuous, and people are still trying to understand that, how the more economic or more viable solutions can come into picture. So it's an ongoing process, and it is still in process.
Right, right.
In
Very
this
well.
case, Aditi, I would like to add on what Ashish ji has said.
Yes, sir.
We have standard design code available, which we all civil engineer, we use that. Wind code. So cyclone means it comes with torrential rain and cyclone wind. And based on that, we have been making even towers, wind towers, or even transmission tower lines. So standard design procedure and solutions are available. That is why cyclone resistant or wind resistant. Wind resistant building construction has been in practice for more than 35, 40 years, almost 45 years, I would say. And whatever codal developments are there, these are all outdated, updated. Moreover, many of our more than 12, 13 airport, important airport, international airport, they are in the cyclone prone area. Other than flood inundation that has taken place, like in Chennai or even in Cochin and other places. But the airport, you see, they have been designed with 140 kilometer per hour speed. But now airport authority, they say that because of the several cyclonic effect on the airport, especially Vizag airport in 2013, or even other Chennai airport or Bhubaneswar airport. So airport structure is totally resistant enough. But what is happening, non-structural element which are blown away, and we cannot help even then. So in that case, people means experts are looking at that. We have wind resistant structure, but we cannot completely make it wind resilient or cyclone resilient. But we have to allow certain non-structural components to fly away or to break away, so that we can economize on the cost of this kind of buildings. And there are certain thumb rule and guidelines are given that how to reduce the wind effect on the building, what are the openings to be made, what are the fixtures to be made, how they have to be connected. And these are all available in the guideline and Indian Standard Code. So this is what that I would like to add on to the things. That things are there more than 45, 50 years we have been making. And even whenever any building that we are making, say more than 50 story or 100 story, Even we see that for that also wind is the main component of forces that which destabilizes the building. So wind forces are being taken into the structural design so that they can, even 100-story building, they can also withstand that wind force which is expected. In fact, in our cyclone area like East Coast and West Coast, already Indian Standard Code has given certain range of wind forces that which is to be included into the structural design. Up to 196 km/h wind speed we take. According to that zonation, structural engineer, they take care of where it is being constructed. So those kind of categorization, based on the categorization, wind forces are calculated and they incorporate into the building design.
Right, sir. We won't be taking other questions because we are already past our time. So with this, we will now move towards the end of the webinar, for which I will request Mr. Vishal Pathakji to conclude this session, marking the close of this insightful session. Mr. Vishal.
Thank you so much, especially to Dr. Gosar, as well as Dr. People and Yadavji. Very useful and insight. Covering all the points, so just wanted to reflect that resilience of any future infrastructure is a must. We all now realize, and it is a must. There is no any other option. And so it is also about the retrofitting existing structure to withstand the challenges that we are facing, extreme weather events or climate change and disaster. This is about safety, but it is now also equally important for the sustainability in the long term. So there is no doubt about this, especially after today's discussion by eminent leaders in this field. So I would like to share just 5 points as an agenda. One is implementing nature-based solution as a pilot and expanded program. Already there are several examples. For example, Dr. Ghosh mentioned about the food case, very useful. And same way how affordable, lightweight, climate resilient infrastructure is now necessary, and there are practices available. So we need such more and more pilots and expanded programs. Second is enhancing policy support and financial mechanism for accelerating retrofitting resilience. It is also important. What Mr. Yadav shared about data infrastructure, as well as how it is more important in the area, urban areas. So it is also require higher attention. Third is fostering multi-stakeholder partnership with risk sharing between the authorities and businesses. It is very much important. Because it is not just infrastructure, it is also about, as Dr. Ghosh mentioned, about air quality, real-time traffic and related platforms. Those are very much important, and for that require multi-stakeholder partnership. Fourth is strengthening community leadership and participation of affected urban population. Now, India having really good, rich experience in terms of long-term disaster recovery, like how in terms of like tsunami recovery, there are several policy, changes like 200-meter far or any infrastructure will take place. Same way, like in 2001 Gujarat earthquake, how community participation took place in terms of design, and or also for the withdrawal strategy for any outside agency. So that's really make very value. Fourth is strengthening community. Fifth and last is integrating traditional and indigenous knowledge that has worked so far. So it is really time tested. Already we have really very good examples, construction styles and techniques, multi-hazard scenario that shared by Dr. Pipalji about Kathkurni as well as the Devari examples. These are really very valuable and already tested, like not like 5, 10 or 56 years, but like many decades. So with this, there is no doubt that agenda need to be carried out by small group of people from the panel and the participants all. AIDMI is willing to facilitate such follow-up in partnership with Miyamoto International. And if there are any other who would like to join, please join. The purpose is to develop time-bound investment of resources, efforts, and technology to make resilient urban infrastructure a given reality. With this, I would like to convey thanks, special thanks to Dr. Ghosh, Dr. People, and Akash Yadav. Really very valuable based on your rich experience. And also many thanks to Dr. Aditya Singh for this facilitation. I really, happy, glad with this number, and we also would like to thank participants, though it was like up to 4:30, but we extended because of rich insights. We didn't want to disturb that because of just time. So with this, thank you so much. We are available if there and we have noted the question and points, and if there is any further follow-up, we will be there. Our chat box have our email ID as well as other contact details. Thank you so much.
Pathak sir,
Please, sir.
I have
Please, sir.
noted one query from participant that in case of lightweight rooftop construction, what is the temperature difference that one can expect? It's a very nice query and question. I would like to say that the kind of construction that I have shown, in fact, it is my own construction, my own rooftop construction. I have not named it in Delhi itself. And we can see that minimum 5 to 7 degree temperature difference is there throughout the year. Throughout the year means when temperature is more than 45 degree, you will get easily at 38 degree, 40 degree, something like that. And in fact, we have minimum use of air conditioner. And during winter season here, it comes down to 8 degree or 9 degree. Then also, when I keep everything close over there, because it is temperature, it is inert material, glass wool is also there, and cement board also. And there are some building papers are also used. There are several types of things have been used there. Then I can see that even during winter season also, when outside temperature is 9 degree, inside it is more than 20 degree. So it is as well as comfortable like that. So we have minimum use of air conditioner. Even simple ceiling fan is good enough. Even at the rooftop one, which I have shown in the beginning also, that is the topmost floor. There, in fact, hardly there is any temperature, extreme temperature there. If we keep the window little bit of open there, because too much of air is there.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, by that way, whichever our pilot and practices, impact study make big difference to upscale and wide scale. Thank you so much, sir, for reflecting this impact side. Thank you all. With this, we will stay in touch, and we welcome if you have any such important case or voices that you would like to share with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything you would like to?
No, sir. This is officially we are.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Need meeting.